What's your favorite story or any particular book? See, I will not keep on repeating the question. Once if I tell the question, you should know that I am asking about that question only. If there are 20 students, if I keep on asking what's your favorite story, what's your favorite story, அப்படின்னு கேட்டுட்டு இருப்பாங்களா எதா இடத்துல? ஒரு டைம் இல்ல 2 times சொல்லுங்க.
Ma'am, I am traveling, ma'am, so I can't hear, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Next. Okay, so I think we can start the session now. So let me present the screen. You can watch the story. I will mute my mic. Also, you can keep muted. You can also remain muted. Yes, all the best. Just watch it. Are you able to hear anything? No, right?
No, ma'am.
No. Other than yes. I am also looking at it. I don't know what happened. Just a minute. The volume is full. Wait.
Once, two friends were crossing a forest. Suddenly, they saw a big bear. They became afraid. One of them quickly climbed a nearby tree. The other one did not know how to climb a tree. He thought, I need to do something quickly to save myself. He at once lay down on the ground and pretended to be dead. The bear came near him and smelt him. It then went away, thinking the man was dead. Then his friend came down from the tree and asked him, What did the bear say in your ears, friend? The other one replied, The bear told me not to trust a false friend. Lesson: be courageous when you are in danger.
Okay, you can watch the story one more time. Okay, because there were some technical issues when you were watching it for the first time. So I will play it once more. Okay, you can watch the video one more time.
Once, two friends were crossing a forest. Suddenly, they saw a big bear. They became afraid. One of them quickly climbed a nearby tree. The other one did not know how to climb a tree. He thought, I need to do something quickly to save myself. He at once lay down on the ground and pretended to be dead. The bear came near him and smelt him. It then went away, thinking the man was dead. Then his friend came down from the tree and asked him, What did the bear say in your ears, friend? The other one replied, The bear told me not to trust a false friend. Lesson: be courageous when you are in danger.
Okay. So did you watch the story? Okay. So I hope
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So I hope you would be clear now with the story, with the theme. Okay. So who wants to describe the story can come forward. Jenny? Yes, Jenny, go ahead.
Ma'am, the story I already know, ma'am, the story.
Okay, so describe the story.
This is how to face the problems like this and theme like this, ma'am.
Okay. So what did you understand? What is the story? Explain the story. Your mic is muted, Jenny.
Ma'am, the story is no. We want to how to face the problems. That's like, ma'am.
Okay, ma. I'm asking you to explain the story. What did you watch in the story?
one two friends were having they are crossing the forest.
Okay.
Then one bear was coming and to attack them. One boy was climbed on a tree, ma'am,
One boy
and
climbed.
another boy
Mm, mm.
climbed on a tree, ma'am,
Ah.
and another boy was acting like dead,
Mm, mm, mm. Okay.
and the bear was come and smell them. The bear thought he was dead. Then the bear was born.
The bear went. The bear went. Okay, fine. Fine. So, what is the moral of the story? What is the moral of this story? What did you understand from this story? When you are asked to explain a story, first you should explain the story, what you saw in the video, and then you should tell what is the moral of the story. Yes, LNCM, LNCM,
The
what's your name? LNCM, LNCM, உங்க பேர் என்ன? ஒன்னு தான் கூப்பிடுறேன், வீடியோ ஆன்ல வச்சிருக்கே. வாட்ஸ் யுவர் நேம்?
My name is Monisha Sri.
மோனிஷா.
Yes, ma'am.
மோனிஷா, moral சொல்லு. What is the moral of the story?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the moral of the story? Okay, fine. So, Pratika, can you just explain the story and let me know the moral?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm.
Um, two friends were two friends were crossing the forest.
Mm.
One, there was a bear coming to attack the two friends.
Mm.
So one friend climbed the tree, and the other friend doesn't know what to do.
Mm.
So he pretended that he's dead and lay down the floor, like
Mm.
the grass floor. And then the bear came to him and thought he was dead. Then the other friend got down.
Mm.
Um,
Okay. Then,
yeah.
so what is the what
Then
happened then?
other friend asked what the bear told.
Mm.
The bear told, I don't know what the
The
bear
friend
told.
told that the bear
The
told that
bear,
do not do
do
not
not trust a friend.
do not befriend fake friends. Do
Yeah,
not befriend
and
people who are not true. Okay, you should not befriend people who are not true to yourself, true to themselves. I'm sorry.
yeah, and the moral of the story is you should not be friends that who are not very clear to you.
You should not. Sorry.
Be friends with others if they are not clear to you, like if they are not helping
If they are not
or
true to you, you can tell. You can use
yes,
the word true. If they are not trustable, if they are not trustworthy, or if they are not true to you, you need not be friends with them, right?
yeah.
Okay, so anyone else? I think one more person can explain the story and then we will move to the next story. Who wants to describe?
Can I?
Yeah, I forgot your name. What was your name?
My name is Anaya.
Sanaya. Yes, Sanaya, you can describe.
Okay. Two friends were walking in the forest. The two friends saw a bear. They were terrified. So one friend climbed a tree and one friend don't know what to do. So he got an idea and laid down to pretend he was dead. And then the bear came and then he sniffed the boy who was laying in the ground, and then the bear walked away. And then the friend got up, and the other friend got down, and told, "What did the bear? What did the bear did to you?" And he said, "The bear told me that I should not be friends with a fake friend like you." And then the moral of the story is find a trust. Don't be with a untrustworthy friend.
Very good. Can you repeat that moral once again?
Don't be friends with an untrustworthy friend.
Very good. Don't be friend with an untrustworthy friend, or don't befriend an untrustworthy friend. Right? Very good, Saina. You spoke well. Okay. So now,
Yes, Maya.
yeah, Saneya. I'm sorry. Okay. So now you can watch the next story. Okay.
Red Hen. Read this play about Little Red Hen. She works very hard and enjoys what she gets for her hard work. Cat, Little Red Hen, Duck, Dog. Scene 1. Little Red Hen goes to the field. She finds some grains of wheat in a field. She does not eat them. She wants to plant them. Her friends live near the field. She asks them to help her dig the field and plant the seeds. Hello, friends. I have found some grains of wheat. Will you help me plant them? Not I. I am too busy. Not I. My kittens are sick.
Not I. I have to guard the field.
Then I will plant them myself. Saying this, Little Red Hen goes away. She digs the field. Then she plants the grains all by herself. Scene 2. The grains grow into plants. They have lots of wheat grains. Little Red Hen wants to cut them now. She asks her friends for help again. Now the wheat is ready for reaping. Will you help me cut it? Not I. I cannot reach the wheat. Not I. I do not know how to cut wheat plants.
Not I. I am too sick.
Then I will cut it myself. Scene 3. Little Red Hen cuts the wheat all by herself. She goes back to her friends. Now the wheat grains are ready for grinding. Who will come with me to the mill? Not I. I'm frightened of the noise of the mill. Not I. I cannot walk so far.
Not I. I have to visit my uncle.
Then I will go to the mill alone. I will grind the wheat into flour myself. Scene 4. Little Red Hen goes to the mill alone. She grinds the wheat into flour. She goes back to her friends. Will anyone at least help me bake bread with the flour?
We are sorry. We do not know how to bake bread.
Scene 5. Little Red Hen takes the flour home and makes dough. Then she bakes a loaf of bread with it. She takes the bread to her friend. Friends, the bread is ready. Who will eat it now?
We will. We are ready to eat the bread.
I'm sorry. I will eat it all by myself. I don't need your help now. You are lazy animals. Now I will not share the bread with you. Goodbye. Saying this, Little Red Hen walks away with the bread. Duck, cat and dog keep on looking at her. They now understand that no one can get anything without hard work. Hard work always pays.
Yes, have you watched it?
Yes, ma'am.
It's a bit long story, but the content is very short. Okay, so you can explain what you have seen in that story. Okay, so who is willing to explain now? You can come forward. You can first come forward and then I will. Okay. Let me call Saneya. I'm sorry.
Yes, Anaya.
Yeah, Saneya,
Can I explain?
can you explain?
Yeah.
Yes,
So
please.
the red hen and the duck and cat and the dog were here. So the red hen saw a garden. So she went to her friends and said, "Can you help me?" And the friend says no. And then she did it by herself
What
again.
did she
She
do?
did it by
What did she do by herself?
she put the seeds and planted them.
She sowed seeds. Sowed seeds, okay?
Okay.
Sowing. We
And
call it
then
sowing. To just put on the seeds on the ground is called sowing. Okay.
okay, she sealed the seeds. And then the seeds turned them to yard.
Started to
So
ripe.
she asked
The seeds started to ripe. Okay.
the seeds started to rise. So she wanted to cut them. So she asked her friends, "Can you help me cut the seed? But can you help me cut the ripe seeds?" All of their friends says no.
Mm.
So she did it by herself.
Mm.
And then and then uh, she wanted to get something.
Mm.
But her friends, so she asked her friends again, and they all say no again because they were doing something else. So she went to the place to get, and then she came back home, and then she says, "Can someone at least help me cook it?" And all of them says no again. So she have to do it by herself all again. And then when she was ready, she went to her friends and said, "Who want to eat with me?" And then all of them said they want. But that had felt like said, "I'm not going to share. None of you guys helped me. Help me." So the red hen walked away and eating the bread, and the dog, the duck, and the cat were like they were ashamed and it felt bad.
Okay, very good. So, what is the moral of the story?
Um, if you do the hard work, you will always get something good.
Okay, so without hard work, nothing is possible to be obtained. Or we can say that hard work always pays off, right?
Yeah,
Very good, very good, good, good. So now let me call. That was a good attempt, Saneya.
thank you.
Very good. So now moving to Aradhana, can you explain the story? Aradhana, can you explain? Okay. So we will just look at one more story. Okay, just one more story. After that, we can have some grammar discussions. Okay. So let me show you.
Dog was walking in the forest. He had a bone in his mouth. The dog felt thirsty, so he walked towards a stream. As he was crossing the stream, he saw his reflection into the water. He thought there was another dog holding a bone in his mouth. He wanted the other dog's bone too. So he barked at the other dog. Bow wow! Bow wow! At once, the bone slipped out of his mouth. It fell into the water. The dog lost the bone, which he had found in the forest. Also, there was no dog in the water. Lesson: being greedy is not good.
Do you want to watch the story once again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Once a dog was walking along a forest. He had a bone in his mouth. The dog felt thirsty, so he walked towards a stream.
You can hear,
As he was crossing the stream, he saw his reflection into the water.
Yeah.
He thought there was another dog holding a bone in his mouth. He wanted the other dog's bone too. So he barked at the other dog. Bow wow, bow wow. At once, the bone slipped out of his mouth. It fell into the water. The dog lost the bone, which he had found in the forest. Also, there was no dog in the water. Lesson: being greedy is not good.
okay. So now you can explain what you have seen in the story. Yes. I want somebody new. Okay, I will come back to Pratik. Don't worry. But I want somebody else to answer. Or mean, can you explain what the story is about? Mohita, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please explain what the story is about.
The dog finds a bone and crosses a bridge.
Mm.
Seeing the reflection in the water of another dog with a bone, he becomes greedy and loses his own bone when he tries to grab the reflected one. The dog greed leads him to lose his bone.
Mm.
He is fooled by his reflection into thinking there is another dog with a better bone.
Mm. Okay.
Moral: be smart.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Next. Yeah. Aradhana, do you want to try? Can you hear me, Aradhana?
Yes. Ma'am, I can't hear you, ma'am.
You told me that you can hear me.
Ma'am, some issues, I think so. Some voices.
Okay, explain the story. I can hear you. Explain the story.
Okay, ma'am. There is a dog was walking along forest.
Hmm.
He, the dog was kept a bone in his mouth.
The dog kept a bone. It not the dog was kept a bone. The dog kept a bone. Where did it keep the bone?
In his mouth.
In
In
his
his mouth.
in his mouth. Okay.
And the dog was very thirsty. There is a river going on.
Hmm.
Is the dog was standing on the bridge, and the river, once there is a dog carrying a bone. The dog was want to take that bone also.
Hmm.
So so the dog was so the dog was uh, sh- uh, shouting.
The dog started to shout.
The dog started to shout. The bone was felt on the river,
The bone
fall
fell.
onto
The bone
fall
fell
into
into
the
the
river,
river.
fell into the river.
Then
The the bone was fell into the river,
not the
and
bone fell
then
into the river. The bone fell into the river. எல்லா இடத்துலயும் was use பண்ணக்கூடாது. The bone fell into the river.
the bone fell into the river.
Okay.
And the moral of the story,
What is the moral of the story?
We should not. What is mean by?
Tell in Tamil, I will help you.
நம்ம வந்து பேராசைப்படக்கூடாது.
One should not be greedy. One
Okay, ma'am.
should not be greedy. greedyனா என்னது? பேராசைப்படுறது. greedyனா ஒரே பேராசைப்படுறதுக்கு greedyம்பாங்க. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So, your next one, Lakshana, you can explain the story.
There was a dog. He had a bone in his mouth. When he was crossing the bridge, in the water, he saw his reflection, but he thought there was another dog which has a bone in his mouth. He thought, I want the bone too, and he was barking wow, wow like that, and the bone fell into the water, and he lost the bone too which he has. And the moral of the story is we should not be greedy.
Okay, very good. Okay, it's not moral, it's moral. Moral. Okay. You should be clear in pronunciation. Moral. M-O-R-A-L. Moral. Okay, try telling it.
Moral.
Moral. Yes, very good. Okay. So, Pratika, you can explain now.
Yes, ma'am. The dog was crossing the forest with a bone. The dog was feeling thirsty, so he went he went across the bridge and saw his reflection in the water. When he saw the reflection, he thought there was another dog with a better bone, and then he thought to get that bone. Then he was barking. The bone with in his mouth was uh fell down.
Fell down. Okay.
Um. Then he thinks that there is no dog. He just wasted a bone, his bone, and um then the moral of the story is never the one we never should be greedy.
We should never be greedy. Okay, very good. So, one last person can describe. Who wants to do that? Soundarya. Yes, Soundarya, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. There was a dog, and there was a dog walking along with a bone in his mouth. He felt so thirsty, so he decided to drink a water in the stream. He crossed the river. He was climbing the river and saw the reflection of his body, but he actually thought that it was another dog with a better bone. So he started to bark at the reflection. So the bone fell into the river. At last, the dog lost his bone. So the moral of the story was greedy can lead to misery. So one should be always self-satisfied with what they had.
Greedy can lead to misery. That's right. Very good. Misery means a trouble or a difficulty. It can be any kind of difficulty, and greedy is perase. Okay. So those who don't know the word for perase, we call it greedy. Okay. Fine. So now, guys, we have some time to explain, to go through some grammatical topics as well. Okay, so for half an hour, as I told you, we completed the story activity, speaking activity. Likewise, in all the classes, we will split our class into two. We will have both the theory sessions as well as the practical sessions. So now I think the screen is visible to you all, right? Can you all see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. So basically, today we are going to learn what are questions and types. So basically, we know that there are different types of asking questions. There are different ways in which questions can be asked. Also, we know that there are basically two types of questions. Primarily, there are two types of questions that we use in our daily conversations. What are those two types of questions? Is anyone aware of that? the two types of questions? Yes, Saneya, do you want to answer?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Is it how are you?
No, I'm asking, grammatically there are two types of questions. What are those two types of questions? We have
Oh,
already
then I don't know.
Okay, that's okay. So they are
Oh.
called the WH questions or the yes or no questions. So the first one is called the WH questions and the second one is the yes or no questions. So WH questions are those that are formed using the WH words or the question words. Whereas yes or no questions are those that are formed using auxiliary verbs or helping verbs, right? So apart from these two types, is there any other type of question that we can ask? That's what we are going to check today. Okay, so we will just have an introduction of that. We will discuss about the third type of question in detail in the next class only. Okay, let's check. What is a question? First and foremost thing is, what is a question? So questions are sentences that ask for information. Yes, questions are sentences that ask for an information. Whatever information you want to know, you ask in the form of a question. So they are also called interrogative sentences. Questions are also called interrogative sentences. So today we will look at the three types of questions. As I told you, there are basically two types, but when it comes to the grammatical part, there are three types of questions. So today we will look at the three types of questions. They are the WH questions, the yes or no questions, and the third one is the tag questions. Tag questions. I don't know how many of you know what are tag questions, but we will discuss that in the next class in detail. Okay, so the three types of questions are again WH questions, yes or no questions, and the tag questions. So for each case, we will look at many examples in different tenses. So we will first discuss what are WH questions. So WH questions are also called open-ended questions. WH questions are also called open-ended questions. Why? Because when you frame a WH question, WH questions are formed using WH words like what, which, when, where, etc. So they are called open-ended questions because when you ask a question using a question word, the answer will not be the same from everyone. For example, a very simple example, if I ask you what is your name, one person may tell my name is Saundarya. The next person may tell I am Mohita. The next person may tell I am Pratika. So the answer keeps on varying from one person to another. So there is no definite answer for the questions, for the WH questions. That's the reason they are called open-ended questions. So WH questions are also called open-ended questions. Okay. Next is the yes or no questions. Yes or no questions are nothing but the questions which are formed using auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs are 27 in number. So if you form a question using any of the auxiliary verbs, you will get only two answers. Either you will get yes as the answer or a no. You will either get yes or no as the answer. Alright. And the third type is called the tag question. The tag question is formed using question tags. Tag question is formed using question tags. Alright. So now let's
Yes.
see what are WH questions in detail. WH questions are those that begin with a question word. A WH question can be framed using any of the 14 question words. So there are totally 14 question words. I will explain what are those 14 question words. So they are also called open-ended questions because the answers vary from person to person. For example, what is your name? This is a WH question. Where are you from? This is another WH question. How old are you? That is another question. So here the questions are not restricted to one answer. The questions are not restricted to one answer, hence they are called open-ended questions. So open-ended means the answer can be different. For example, if I ask you how old are you, one person may tell I am 25 years old, one person may tell I am 30 years old, one will tell I am 15 years old. So the answer keeps on changing from person to person. Yeah, so we call them open-ended questions. Now this is the list of question words. Okay, this is the list of question words. So here you can see there are totally 14 question words. What, which, where, when, why, who, whose, whom, how many, how much, how long, how far and how often. Okay, can somebody read this list of questions for me once again?
Can I?
Can I?
One at a time, just a minute.
Can I?
One at a time, I will call you. Yes, Soundarya, you can read first, after that Pratika. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. What, which, where, when, why, who, whose, whom, how many, how much, how long, how far, how often.
Very good. Yes, Pratika, you can read now.
Ma'am, is it questions?
The question words. The question words.
Uh, words. What, which, where, when, why, who, whose, whom, how many, how much, how long, how far, how often.
Very good. So now, just a minute, someone has switched on the mic. Okay. So now let's check the different questions for these question words. Okay, so there are different questions for each question word. So let's check that. Okay, so Anita, you can read those questions. Lakshana, you can read the questions.
Yes, ma'am. What is your name? What is your book?
Which is your
Where
book?
are,
Which is your book? Read
which is your
properly.
book?
Read properly.
Yes, ma'am. Which is your book? Where are you from? When is your exam? Why are you late? Who is this? Whose bag is this? Whom did you call now? How did you How did you come? How many pens do you have? How much money does he have? How long is your house? How far is the post office from the school? How often you how often do you go to temples?
Very good, very good. So, somebody else can again read this.
Can I read it?
Yeah, two people have asked, right? One was Saneya. Who was the other one?
Aradhana, ma'am.
Okay. So, we'll do one thing, we will split it. Okay. The first 5 questions can be read by Saneya.
Yes, ma'am. Can I start?
Yeah.
What is your name? Which is your book? Where are you from? When is your exam? Why are you late?
Very good, very good. Yes, Aradhana, you can read the next 5 questions.
Okay, ma'am. Who is this? Whose bag is this? Whom did you call now? How did you come? How many pens do you have? How much money does
Okay,
he?
okay, only 5, only 5. First, next 5 சொன்னேனே 5 தான். Okay. Next, Kanushka, you can read the remaining questions. Kanushka. Kanushka. Yeah, read the questions. From the last 4 questions, you can read it. Okay. Kanushka, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. கேட்கறதில்ல. Okay. Okay, you can switch off your mic, Kanushka. You can try in the next class. Okay. There is some network issues, I think. Yes, Fawaz, are you interested to read?
No, I cannot read.
Okay.
Can I?
Yes, Aradhana, you can complete that list.
Okay, ma'am. How much money does he have? How long is your house? How far is the post office from the school? How often do you go to the temple?
Okay. So here you can see the questions are formed using different question words like what, which, where, when, why, who, whose, whom, how many, how much, how long, how far, how often. So totally there are 14 question words. Okay, so you know the meanings of all these question words, I know. But I just want to tell you the difference between how many, how much, how long, how far and how often. How many means you can ask எவ்வளவு pen இருக்கு, எவ்வளவு books இருக்கு, எவ்வளவு bag இருக்கு. So how many? So you can use this only with countable nouns. How many is used only with countable nouns. Next is how much. How much is used with uncountable nouns like how many, how much money, how much time, how much water, how much milk. These are all uncountable nouns. So you can use how much with those uncountable nouns. Next is how long. How long is used to show a duration, a time. How long is your house from the school? How long is the beach from your house? How long is the post office from your house, etc. Next is how far. How far is used to show a distance. How far is used to show a distance. For example, how far is the school from your house? 1 kilometer. Or how far is the post office from your house? 2 kilometers. Likewise. And the last one is how often. How often is used to show a frequency. How often is used to show a frequency. Frequency is nothing but எப்போல்லாம் நீ கோவிலுக்கு போவ, எப்போல்லாம் நீ temples போவ, எப்போல்லாம் நீ beach போவ. How often do you go to beaches? How often do you go to temples? It's used to show a frequency. Okay, so these are the list of the 14 WH question words. So now we can check the yes or no questions. So I will just give you an introduction for yes or no questions. This type of question is usually the easiest to ask and answer in English. கேட்கறதுக்கும் இது ஈஸி தான், ஆன்சர் பண்ணுறதுக்கும் இது ஈஸி தான். They are called yes or no questions because the answer to these questions is generally a yes or no. The answer will either be yes or no. எவ்வளோ லாங்காக கேட்டாலும் இந்த கொஸ்டின்ஸுக்கு வந்து ஆன்சர் எய்தர் இட் வில் பி a yes or no only. So how to form a yes or no question? How to form a yes or no question? So you can see first you have to use an auxiliary verb plus there must be a subject plus there must be a verb plus one object or some other information. So there must be an auxiliary verb plus subject plus verb plus object or other information. For example, did you call me? Did you call me? So either the answer will be a yes or no. So you can see here did is the auxiliary verb. Did is the auxiliary verb. You is the subject. Call is the verb. Me is the object. Similarly, are you ready? If I ask you, are you ready? So are is the auxiliary. You will be the subject. Ready will be the you can either consider it as a verb or as an adverb as well. This is how yes or no questions are formed. Alright, so in the next class we will check the list of auxiliary verbs. You already know what are auxiliary verbs. Next class we will discuss what are those auxiliary verbs, how to form questions, and then we will start the last type, that is tag questions or question tags. Alright, so I hope today's class was interesting. How was the class today? You can give your opinions.